Imagine this. You're sitting across from her in a dim cafe, your words careful, your heartbeat louder than the music. You want to say something charming, something that lands, but the more you force it, the less alive you feel. She smiles politely, checks her phone, and you feel the mood tilt away from you like a table with one short leg. If that picture stings, good. Because what makes you instantly attractive to a woman isn't lines or luck, it's the habits that shift gravity back to your side. The first habit is ruthless presence. Not needy eye contact, not staring, not trying to read her mind. Presence. It's the discipline of stillness when your nervous system wants to fidget, fill silence, sell yourself. A present man breathes slower, talks less, and notices more. The way her tone dips when she tests you, the way her body angles when she's interested, the micro withdrawals that signal control. You become harder to manipulate because you aren't chasing the next hit of approval. Tactically, before any date, you drop your phone for 10 minutes and practice box breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. In conversation, count to 2 internally after she finishes speaking. If she tests you with a snarky comment, you smile, acknowledge the energy, and redirect, "Cute. Now tell me something real." No apology, no flinch. That is presence. The second habit is calibrated indifference. Not apathy, calibration. She cancels last minute with a flimsy excuse. Instead of a paragraph of hurt or a "no worries," green light for disrespect, you respond with quiet boundaries. "All good. Let's try another time." Then you go live your life and do not follow up. Indifference breaks the psychological trap of pursuit addiction. When a woman learns that withdrawal doesn't control your behavior, her respect either rises or her interest reveals itself as fake. Both outcomes are wins. Make this operational. If she reschedules twice, you stop initiating. If her messaging rhythm stalls, mirror it, not to punish, but to protect your investment. The man who can sit with open loops becomes the rare man who holds the frame. The third habit is decisive movement. Attraction is an energy economy. Indecision bleeds your value because it announces, "I outsource my choices to how you feel about me." You suggest vague plans, you crowdsource opinions, you wait for her enthusiasm before acting. That is the psychology of a follower. Flip it. You choose a place, a time, and 2 options that fit your vibe and budget. Thursday at 7, sushi or tapas? If she says, "I don't know," you pick, you pick. If she resists everything, that resistance is data, not a mystery to solve. Stop debating, stop convincing. Lead with direction, not pressure. A decider frees her from carrying the masculine role, and the relief she feels reads as attraction. The fourth habit is controlled reveal. Oversharing is emotional stripping. It makes you feel connected while making you look unstable. The manipulative game here is information fishing. She asks deep questions early, not because she's earned your story, but because a fast emotional bond gives her leverage. Your counter is pacing. Answer a question briefly, then pivot back to the present moment. That's a long story. What matters now is I value loyalty and focus. You maintain mystery by making your life bigger than the conversation. If she pushes, you smile. You'll learn the long version. That sentence alone changes power dynamics. Tactically, practice a 3-sentence rule for vulnerable topics. Anything more is for later, after consistency is proven. The fifth habit is mission-first scheduling. Scarcity isn't pretending to be busy. It's being busy with something worthy. Men who overinvest early rearrange their entire week around a woman they barely know. That communicates one thing: my life has no gravitational pull. You fix this by anchoring your calendar to non-negotiables. Training, work blocks, creative time, brotherhood. Dates fit inside the lanes of your life, not over them. If she tries to test by requesting last-minute changes, you hold the line. Tonight's locked, let's do Sunday. When she sees you don't bend for chaos, she either aligns or disqualifies herself. Again, both are wins. You might be wondering why these habits work so fast. Because attraction isn't a list of surface traits, it's nervous system signaling. Presence calms her. Indifference stops her from gaming you with scarcity. Decisiveness relieves her of masculine labor. Controlled reveal earns curiosity instead of spraying it. Mission-first scheduling telegraphs that your validation comes from purpose, not female attention. Together these signals say, I am not captured. And in a landscape of men performing for approval, that freedom is gold. Here's the internal cost if you ignore this. You become the man who texts too much, confesses too early, negotiates respect with gifts, and spirals when she pulls away. You get trapped in her rhythm, learning her schedule, predicting her moods, and abandoning your body to manage hers. Your self-talk corrodes. If I were funnier, richer, taller, but you don't need new genetics. You need a new operating system. That begins with a vow. No more chasing what withdraws, no more explaining boundaries, no more begging for enthusiasm. You'll offer presence, direction, pace, and purpose. If she meets you there, you pour in. If not, you walk, not as revenge, but as standard. Have you ever caught yourself explaining why you're worth it after she canceled or went cold? What happened next, and what did it cost you? Which of these 5 habits feels most uncomfortable for you to practice this week, and why? What's the hardest part of sitting in silence for 2 seconds instead of rushing to fill it? The 6th habit is emotional leadership. Most men mirror women without noticing. If she's anxious, you become jittery. If she's distant, you start tap dancing. If she's moody, you try to fix what she won't name. That's how you get emotionally enrolled in her storm. Emotional leadership means your state sets the tone in the room. It's not fake positivity, it's regulated intensity. When she sighs and says, "I'm just in a weird mood," your nervous system stays slow. You don't interrogate, you don't over-explain, you don't fill the gap with validation. You give a gentle tether. Got it. We can keep it light tonight. If she escalates to passive aggression, you mark the behavior instead of defending your character. If there's something specific, say it. Otherwise, let's not take shots. Tactically, never argue over text. If she starts a heavy topic by phone, you reply once. Happy to talk about this properly. Call or let's meet. If she refuses and continues to jab, you stop responding for the night. Emotional leadership is not domination. It's refusing to be drafted into chaos. The 7th habit is crisp boundary enforcement. A boundary is not a speech, it's a fork in the road plus your action. The manipulative pattern you're up against is withdrawal as control. Attention when she's bored, silence when you ask for clarity, warmth when you chase, coolness when you pull back. The boundary that breaks this is the 2-invite rule paired with the 48-hour window. You invite twice in a cycle. If she declines or goes vague both times, you stop initiating until she proposes a concrete plan. And if she texts you after going cold, you respond once within 48 hours, friendly and brief, without offering logistics. If she wants your time, she'll ask for it. If she doesn't, she'll drift. Either way, you exit the hamster wheel. For last-minute cancellations, use the calm reset. No problem. Let's plan another time when you're certain. Then do not reschedule in that same thread. Make her reinitiate later. If she tries to keep you as a texting pet, you triage with a single, high-friction question. When are you actually free? If she can't answer, you archive the thread and move on. Boundaries are felt when you stop pouring. She'll feel the loss of access more than the power of your monologues. The 8th habit is calibrated pursuit. Overinvestment is the gasoline for every manipulation because it signals that your time has no competing purpose. Calibrated pursuit means you reward clarity, not chemistry. Early stage, you keep your messages functional and forward, not essays, not vibes, not midnight therapy. If she asks 10 questions but dodges meeting, you say, "Fun questions. Let's chat over coffee Wednesday or Sunday afternoon." If she continues to keep it digital, you downgrade investment. Fewer replies, longer gaps, and no more prompts. In person, you escalate slowly and cleanly. You move seats next to her, touch is brief and honest, you maintain eye contact until she looks away, then you break first so no one's trapped. You neither pretend to be detached nor perform intensity. You follow the yes. Practical cadence. If you're carrying 80% of the initiation after 2 weeks, you reduce your outreach by half and see what survives. If nothing does, your clarity just saved you months. Why do these habits work? Because manipulation feeds on ambiguity and argument. Emotional leadership denies ambiguity. The oxygen of reactivity. Crisp boundaries convert her games into visible choices she has to own. Calibrated pursuit makes your attention contingent on effort, not on the temporary high of her pretty words. And underneath all of it is the frame that your time, attention, and body are earned, not assumed. Women aren't turned on by your endless availability. they're stabilized by your standards. Here's what happens internally when you don't do this. You start monitoring her like a stock chart. Every message, every dot, every delay, each one dictating your mood. You reshuffle your day to chase micro moments of reassurance. You become a man managed by her absence. From there, your texts get longer, your humor gets try-hard, your questions get invasive, and your nights get restless. Then you blame yourself for not being enough while ignoring the core problem. You keep rewarding uncertainty. The shift is realizing you don't need to be more entertaining. You need to be more selective. If she withholds as punishment after a minor disagreement, you deploy distance and delay. Distance is reducing exposure. Fewer texts, fewer calls, fewer windows of availability. Delay is time lag. You don't match her urgency. You answer when your life allows, in full sentences, without defensiveness and without new offers. If she returns with warmth, you receive it, but you insist on a plan. Let's reset. Thursday 7 works. If she says, "We'll see," you hear it once. A second "we'll see" is your cue to step back entirely. Not a breakup speech, just the end of your efforts. If you've been over-investing, here's the hard reset. For the next 14 days, you will not double text. You will not explain your boundaries. You will not chase when she withdraws. You will maintain your training schedule, your work blocks, and a weekly social plan that does not involve her. When she pings, you answer like a man moving somewhere. If she asks to meet, you suggest 2 times and stop negotiating. If she flakes again, you do not offer a third time. When you do this, you'll feel withdrawal because you were addicted to the chase. Breathe through it. This is your nervous system detoxing from inconsistency. Have you noticed how quickly your mood swings when her texting rhythm changes? What's the exact pattern you fall into, and how will you interrupt it this week? When was the last time you enforced a boundary without explaining it? What did you say, and how did she respond? The 9th habit is standards in motion. Standards aren't slogans on your phone wallpaper. They're living rules enforced in the moment. Most men make standards conditional. I want respect, unless she's really hot, or I value honesty, unless her story kind of makes sense. That wobble is where manipulation enters. The tactic you're facing is excuse stacking. Small lies, softening language, and selective amnesia. She forgot to reply for 3 days, reappears with, "Sorry, I was overwhelmed," then wants your instant warmth. Standards in motion look like this. You accept the apology without drama, you don't interrogate, but you reset access. Your replies get shorter, your availability shrinks, and your next invitation comes with friction. "No problem, I've got a tight week. Sunday 5 or next Wednesday 7. If she pushes for endless texting without committing, your standard makes the conversation boring. "Cool, let's pick a time or catch up later." Then silence. You're not punishing. You're aligning words with action. For disrespect, a snide comment at your expense in front of friends, a backhanded compliment, a joking insult. Don't litigate the past, land on the present. "Don't talk to me like that again." Then change the subject. And if it happens again, you end the night early. You don't argue in the car, and you don't debrief over text. The shift she feels isn't your anger, it's the loss of your presence. That's education. The 10th habit is self-sourced desire. The most intoxicating thing about a man is not the intensity of his attention, it's the integrity of his appetite. The sense that he wants her but doesn't need her to feel alive. The manipulative game that targets this is fantasy inflation. She mirrors your dreams, fast-forwards intimacy, paints futures on thin evidence, and then uses your hope to steer your behavior. You counter with verification. You enjoy chemistry without making commitments your calendar can't cash. You set pace with proof. Consistency over time, not promises in heat. Tactical translation. You always wait 1 sleep cycle before major decisions. Trips, exclusivity, big gifts, introducing to inner circle. You never let praise spike your investment, you let effort do it. If she says, "You're different, I feel so safe," you smile and pivot to planning. Good, Friday or Sunday. If she says, "I could really see us traveling together," you test her in the small. Cool, let's start with a day trip next month. If she evaporates when logistics appear, you've just learned the difference between a poem and a plan. Self-sourced desire also means your routines remain intact when she enters your life. Sleep, training, solitude, creative grind, They anchor you. If she tries to pull you off routine with constant crisis, you offer help once. I'm free at 6 to talk. If chaos repeats weekly, you downgrade the connection. Desire that survives standards is desire worth feeding. Here's why these two habits close the loop. Standards in motion make your boundaries visible and expensive to violate. Self-sourced desire makes your attention a choice, not a compulsion. Together they transform how you respond to withdrawal as control, love bombing, breadcrumbing, and intermittent reinforcement. The common thread in those games is the assumption that you'll pay more for less. When your standards move with you, you stop paying. When your desire is self-sourced, you stop bargaining with loneliness. She doesn't get to hold your mood hostage by hiding the key in silence. Your mood lives in your mission. Now let's get surgical about the traps that will test you in the field. If she uses sexual availability as a lever, hot one week, cold the next, you don't chase heat with gifts or groveling. You address the rhythm at a neutral time. Our energy's been up and down. I'm into you and I want clarity. If you're unsure, let's slow this down and meet when you're sure. Then you reduce physical escalation and maintain connection only if efforts match. If she storms out during a disagreement and disappears, you send a single message 12 hours later. I'm open to a real conversation. When you're ready, let me know. No paragraph, no diagnosis. If she returns and tries to resume like nothing happened, you meet but you re-establish the standard. Let's not repeat the exit. If you need a break, say it. Walking out kills trust. You do not reward disappearance with extra time. If she triangulates you with mentions of other men to provoke competition, you refuse the audition. Sounds like you've got options. I prefer focus. Then you change topic or end the night early. Your calm exit says more than your speech. If you're the over-investor, here's a 3-week sequence to recenter. Week 1. Subtract, don't add. Remove double texting, remove same-day availability, remove late-night reassurance. Keep workouts and work blocks non-negotiable. Week 2. Mirror. Match your texting length and frequency, allow silences, and reframe every vague thread with a time box. Let's talk when we have an hour. Week 3. Verify. Propose one clear plan. If accepted, show up fully present. If declined without counteroffer, do nothing. If she reappears with small talk, you respond hours later with warmth but no prompts. This sequence detoxes your nervous system and exposes reality without theatrics. Understand the internal cost you're avoiding. Every time you ignore a standard to keep the vibe, you teach your body that your needs are negotiable. Every time you inflate your pursuit because she dangled a fantasy, you mortgage your focus for a feeling that evaporates when she does. Attraction built on self-abandonment is a time bomb. When it blows, you'll call it heartbreak, but it was fraud, a deal you signed with hunger. The masculine shift is brutal in its simplicity. You won't lose yourself to win her. You will welcome her if she chooses you cleanly, and you will release her if she chooses confusion. Both choices make you more dangerous, more grounded, more free. Have you ever noticed how fast you forgive when she returns with sugar after a cold spell? What specific standard did you drop last time just to keep her around? Which test, sexual hot cold, sudden disappearance, or triangulation, hooks you the hardest, and what exact sentence will you use next time to break the pattern? You've got the habits. Now you lock them into your nervous system with drills. Without practice, you'll default to the same jittery patterns the moment she goes quiet or turns up the heat. Start with the silence drill. Twice a day, sit for 3 minutes and watch your impulse to grab your phone. That impulse is the same itch that makes you overtext when she delays. Label it, urge, breathe through it. When you train your system to ride the wave without acting, you stop paying attention as if it's currency. Next is the 2-beat pause. In conversation, especially when she jabs or teases, count 2 beats inside your chest before you answer. In those 2 beats, you find your frame. Your eyes soften, your shoulders drop, and you respond from choice, not survival. Cute. Try again. Or you let the comment die in silence. That silence is not passive. It's a boundary she can feel. The third drill is the logistics first script. When texting with new connections, your first 5 exchanges end in logistics, not biography. 4. Fun question. Let's trade stories over coffee. Thursday 7 or Sunday 4? If she circles with more chatting, repeat. Happy to. Which day works? You refuse to perform intimacy for free. Now the field triage. You sort women into 3 lanes: clear, cloudy, and storm. Clear is consistent, warm, and willing to plan. Cloudy is polite but vague, maybe energy, slow replies with no counteroffers. Storm is highs and lows, flaking followed by love bombs, triangulation, or public disrespect. Your time goes to clear. Cloudy gets one more test of initiative. Pick a time that suits you. If nothing concrete appears, you put the thread down. Storm gets distance and one boundary. If patterns repeat, you exit without ceremony. The trap you're escaping here is intermittent reinforcement, a casino schedule where you overpay because a rare jackpot once felt incredible. Casinos don't lose because a few players win. They win because most keep playing. You close your tab and walk out. Social media is where respect leaks without you noticing. If she posts thirst traps and watches whether you like them, you don't feed the algorithm. You give your attention in person. If she uses stories to bait jealousy, out with the boys, you don't audit her night. You return to mission. If it escalates into direct provocations, you respond once. I'm not competing with a phone. We're either focused or we're not. Then you mirror. No unfollow tantrums, just a quiet downgrade in access. Understand the psychology. Public reward systems create public tests. You win by not playing. Your first date protocol is simple and calm. You choose a venue you enjoy, small and low stakes, with an exit option. You arrive on time, you sit side by side or at a corner, proximity over interrogation. You keep the conversation rooted in present energy, not trauma archaeology. You observe whether she asks you real questions or only performs being interesting. You add light physicality when the moment is naturally charged, a brief touch to emphasize a joke, a slow lean in when she leans in, then you lean back first. You end the date cleanly and early. A 90-minute cap protects your energy and increases her curiosity. If she pushes for more, you tease with affection. You're dangerous. Rain check. Conflict protocol saves the connection or reveals its weakness. You do not debate feelings, you clarify behaviors. When you left without a word, trust took a hit. Then you ask for one clear agreement. Next time, say you need 10 minutes. If she mocks the request or escalates into character assassination, you exit the conversation. I'm not doing disrespect. We'll talk tomorrow. Then you actually stop. Don't re-enter the ring because your chest is buzzing. That buzz is your body asking for self-respect, not her approval. If a woman withdraws as control, you use the indifference trident: mirror, delay, and redirect. Mirror her frequency with shorter messages. Delay your responses to the pace of your life, not the pace of your alarm system. Redirect away from emotional ping-pong to logistics. Good to hear from you. Thursday 7. If she continues the vacuum, you remove attention entirely. No subtext, no subtweets, no seeking. Withdrawal feeds on reaction. Starvation ends it. If you catch yourself over-investing, you deploy the 3-ring audit. Ring 1, your body. Sleep, training, sunlight. If these are off, nothing else will hold. Ring 2, your work. A single, measurable target per day. Not a list. One target that moves your life. Ring 3, your tribe. One call, one meetup, one honest conversation with a man who won't let you lie to yourself. You report your standards to him, not to her. Attraction grows in the soil of a regulated life. Otherwise, you'll plant seeds in concrete and blame the weather. Finally, you build a small arsenal of sentences to keep your power. I don't explain boundaries. I like clarity. If you're unsure, let's slow down. Let me know when you're free. Don't talk to me like that. I'm into you. I move with effort, not promises. These aren't lines, they're handles. When your hands shake, you grab one and pull yourself out of the old pattern. The result isn't coldness, it's warmth with edges. The kind of presence that makes a woman relax because she can feel you won't disappear into her moods or drown in your own. When you look back at your last 3 connections, which lane were they? Clear, cloudy, or storm? And how long did you stay past the evidence? What sentence from this arsenal will you commit to using? The next time your chest buzzes with the urge to over-explain, what's one social media behavior you'll stop feeding this week to protect your frame? Here is where everything hardens into steel. Detachment isn't a vibe, it's a decision you renew every time your chest tightens. Detachment says, I won't abandon myself to keep a moment alive. It's not coldness, it's custody of your nervous system. The battle is always the same. She withholds, you feel the vacuum, and your mind sprints to fill it with stories. She's busy, she's testing, she's losing interest, she's hurt. Pause. You don't answer stories, you answer evidence. The evidence is rhythm. If her rhythm collapses and effort disappears, you step back without ceremony. Tactical rule. When a connection dips below mutual for 7 consecutive days, vague texts, no logistics, energy flat, you stop initiating for the next 7. No speech, no grandstand. If she re-engages with a plan, receive it. If she re-engages with nostalgia, smile and do nothing. Detachment is the gap where clarity emerges. There's a different trap when the interest is high and the pace is hot. Reciprocity feels effortless, and you start offering future you can't deliver. You promise weekends, travel, intensity, because the chemistry is intoxicating. Detachment here is pace. You keep your life's cadence while allowing connection to breathe. You say, I like this. Let's see what we build over weeks, not sentences. If she pushes a timeline, you stay grounded. We don't need speed, we need proof. You're not fighting her desire. You're protecting the container where desire stays clean. Practical move. 1 anchor night a week reserved for you, non-negotiable. If she fits, great. If not, life continues. The man who honors his week doesn't drown in any weekend. You will be tested by re-entries. The ghost who returns, the storm who calms, the cloud that suddenly clears. Most men fold at the first ping because they want relief from uncertainty more than they want truth. Your protocol is verification. First reply is brief and warm. Second message converts to logistics. Good to hear from you. Are you free Thursday 7 or Sunday 5? If she ducks and dives, you don't chase a memory. If she chooses a time and shows, you don't debrief the past for an hour. You observe the present for 90 minutes. You watch for congruence. Detachment means you don't sell her the upgraded version of you. You let her experience it and qualify herself to remain. If you're inside a relationship, detachment shows up as standards with grace. You don't weaponize leaving, but you do make disrespect expensive. When tension hits, you make one request with a clear positive vision. I want us to talk cleanly, even when we're hot. If either of us needs 10 minutes, we say it, then we return. If patterns keep looping, door slams, silent treatment, public jabs, you don't become a professor of her childhood. You become a steward of your future. You initiate a structured pause. We're looping. I'm taking a week to reset. We'll talk next Saturday. In that week, you don't stalk her digital trail or crowdsource your pain. You train, you sleep, you work, you journal the red flags you've been excusing, and you decide from evidence. If she returns with accountability and behavior change over time, you rebuild slowly. If she returns with sugar and no plan, you accept the sweetness and keep walking. Let's talk breakups and the masculine mistake of soft exits. You want to keep the door friendly because you fear regret, but half goodbyes rot your spine. A clean exit has 3 parts. You name the pattern without blame. We keep cycling between hot and silent. You name your standard. I do clarity and respect. You name your action. I'm stepping away. Then you execute no contact for 30 days minimum. Not to punish, to detox. You block if necessary to protect your decision. During those 30 days, you run the 3-ring audit daily and you refuse nostalgia's highlight reel. If she sends a letter, you read it at the end of the 30 days with a friend who isn't hypnotized by your hunger. You reply once if and only if the letter includes ownership and a concrete plan. Otherwise, you let silence complete your sentence. Detachment also means you stop trying to rescue women from the consequences of their tests. If she triangulates, you exit the triangle. If you're deciding, decide. I won't compete. If she threatens to leave as leverage, you take the door out of her hand. If you need to go, go. I don't do threats. If she accuses your boundaries of being controlling, you breathe and say, my boundaries control me, not you. You refuse to be shamed out of self-respect. You don't explain the value of oxygen to someone who benefits from you forgetting to breathe. There is a deeper shift beneath everything. You stop trying to be chosen and start choosing. You choose your pace, your standards, your people. You let desire ignite but not govern. You replace fantasy with verification, flattery with effort, chemistry with character. You begin to understand that beauty without reciprocity is a tax, not a gift. And you feel the moment your center locks in. when you can look at a stunning woman who won't meet you cleanly and feel gratitude without grasping. That is freedom. Not the freedom to be alone forever, but the freedom to partner without losing the man you've built. The purpose of all these habits has never been to win women. It's to stop losing yourself. When you live this way, you become soft to the world and hard to nonsense. You become fun because you're not afraid, generous because you're not empty, warm because you're not waiting for permission to be solid. Women feel that. They relax around it. They choose it. And if they don't, you are still whole, still moving, still dangerous in the best way. A man whose life calls to him louder than any silence ever could. She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.